This is Joe from Beards, Blades, and Hair, and you're listening to Beards, Blades, and Podcasts. Um, the topic for today is going to be how to take care of your beard, which I know is a very broad subject. So we will be getting into basically everything from top to bottom on how to take care of your beard. You could use this yourself, send this to a friend, but the long story short is this is the way to take care of your beard. So I want to start with today what's in beard and what's in hair. So to start off, for what's in beard, I have either Eisner Mike or Eisner Mile or Isner Mile. I'm not sure which. I'm guessing Eisner because it just sounds better, but I'll definitely look it up for the review. Eisner Mile actually sent me this beard oil along with some other things for in order to do a review. I'm not gonna take any pay for it or anything. I didn't charge anything for the review, but they did send it to me free of charge, so I wanted to make sure I mentioned that. But I'll definitely be doing a review of that as well as they have something they call a growth beard oil, which I have opinions on based off the ingredients, as well as a comb you'll be seeing later and a bunch of other stuff actually. So that'll be a cool review coming up soon. As far as what's in hair is another review coming up soon, which is Shea Moisture Waves Pomade. This is definitely an interesting product because I recently did a review of their beard oil, which I thought was good for skin, good for hair, bad for styling. And so this kind of came across my radar. I'll get into it in the review more because of the ingredients. But it's called Waves Pomade because it's intended for black men in order to put waves in their hair. But it works totally fine, as you can see, as a for a white man in his hair. So those are two things. The things I always want to start with is what's in hair and what's in beard. Um, so into the topic for today, how to take care of your beard, kind of from top to bottom. So to start off, want to talk about a let's start from a short beard because a short beard's a lot easier to take care of, and it's also everything I mentioned for a short beard is also going to help you for a medium length beard or a long beard. So I wanted to start off with the simpler stuff. So for a short beard, what you're going to want to start off with is, as previously mentioned, a beard oil. The reason for that being is you're definitely there is an extent to an extent where everybody always talks about the itch that happens with a beard, especially after a couple weeks. Some of that just kind of is what it is, unfortunately, which is one of my wife's least favorite phrases is it is what it is. But some of that is, unfortunately, it is what it is because it's the skin or it's the hair actually poking through the skin, and that's going to cause some itch naturally. The other thing is, though, you are asking a lot of your skin to now start taking the natural sebum oils that are on your skin and give it to the hairs. So you are in need of actual more oil in order to take care of your very short beard as well as the skin underneath. When I say short beard, I basically say anything within about a month of growth. That's when I would start to say, you have a short beard up to until I would say your end of your short beard is when it starts coming off of your chin. That's when I would start calling it a medium beard. So just for context on what I mean by a short beard. So we're gonna get a good high quality beard oil. I'll leave links to recommend below for a beard oil. And then the other thing you're gonna want and need is a nice high quality wooden comb. This is also from Eisner Mile. I'm just gonna keep calling it Eisner because I think that's what it is. But this is the beard comb that they gave me, which by the way I love. I'm definitely gonna do a review on this, and I think it's just absolutely fantastic. I'm as shocked as you are that this is as good as it is, but you're gonna want to get a nice wooden comb. You could live with a plastic comb if you really needed to, but you're stepping up your game when you get a nice wooden comb, and it'll just feel better on your skin, and you don't really have to worry too much about or fiddle too much with. You're definitely gonna have to not have to worry about styling or tangles or things like that. But it's definitely worth having. It's definitely worth having a nice wooden comb. The other thing, or the next things I want to mention that you're going to want and need are either a good beard wash or beard soap. So any high quality, let's start with the easier one. So any high quality bar soap will work for your beard, but I want to give a word of caution here. If you're someone who wants to wash even your short beard on a daily basis, this is a little harsh for it. Um, you're probably if you're not planning on growing it out, so if you say you're going to keep it short, you'd be totally fine because any damage caused to your hair by daily showering with something like a harsher soap is just not, you'll shave it off, or not, maybe not shave it off, but trim it off before you really cause any damage. But for those of you who are gonna start growing a short beard, we're almost at No Shave November. For those of you going to start growing a short beard and then take that into a medium beard and then take that into a long beard, um, I would not recommend using this every day. I think a lot of people could get away with every other day. Probably every third day would be better, but it's all really going to be dependent on how sensitive your beard is. Mine, for example, is very tough. I don't think I've ever gotten a beard split end in my entire life. I cannot recall. And one of these days I'll do my origin story where I explain why I started growing a beard, and that's definitely gonna be a podcast episode. Why I started growing a beard and kind of the particulars of my beard, because my beard's super non-porous and it also just apparently can't be damaged. So I think I'm kind of a strange person in that regard, but for the rest of everybody else, would definitely recommend limiting that. In connection with that, if you are someone who wants to wash your beard on a daily basis, I would recommend something like a solid beard wash bar, or a some other beard wash, like a liquid beard wash. Also recommend Phoenix. I haven't used this one yet from Beard Octane. I do have a review on my channel of the soap that I showed earlier, but the solid beard wash bar, I haven't reviewed that yet or used it, frankly. But I do have a review on my channel of Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements. They call it a beard shampoo. It's pretty gentle on the beard, so I would think that one would be totally fine to use as a daily wash. But one thing to keep in mind, so the difference between these two, just to clarify, is the solid beard wash bar is this one, the square one, is for daily use, and this one that is more of a rectangle, the beard soap, is something you definitely don't want to use every single day. And if you're using either of these, but particularly the beard wash bar, they're very sensitive. And so they will kind of fall apart if you leave them in a puddle of their own water. So you're going to want to make sure you get a soap saver. You don't have to get one like this. There's rubber ones that are sold. They're totally fine. I wanted to invest a little bit in getting something nicer. Simple Solutions 123 on Etsy, which I'll also leave a link for below, sells a really nice holder, or soap saver, that I would definitely recommend you use, because it's nice, and it's also relatively cheap for something that, this isn't anything crazy, don't get me wrong, but this was 13 bucks shipped, and I'm pretty sure it cost the guy $5 to ship it. So like he says, quote unquote, no shipping costs, but it was like, so he paid $5 of the 13 bucks I paid. So I mean, it's held up well so far. I think I've had this about a month. The last thing, the two last things you're gonna want is, and the last thing is very situational. So this is the last thing for everybody I would recommend with a short beard, is a nice beard scrubber. I have this. I talked about this a lot in a review, or not so much a review, but a how to get rid of beard drift / dandruff video that I'll link below. But it's from Toiletries, and it's just a rubber / silicone scrubber that when you're in the shower, you're going to use to, when you apply your beard wash or your soap, you're going to use to dig into your skin to make sure you're exfoliating it. That will help with itch, and should help with any kind of irritation, and should just help with deep cleaning. And it's gentle enough that I've never gotten any kind of marking, or like, cut myself, irritated my skin, anything like that. And I'm pretty rough with it, and it does a nice job. So I would recommend that. This is all short beard, so everybody who has a short beard can use all of this. The last thing that I would recommend, now this is for those of us who have beards that are going gray. My beard looks nice and uniform and not gray, but that's because I dye it. So I would recommend Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements No-Go Gray Solution. Or essentially, if you could find another henna dye that appeals to you, that would work as well. But I don't recommend a chemical dye. I think it's just not worth it. And I've never personally done it, but for anyone who you talk to, or anything you've seen on the internet about it, dries it out. There's people get chemical burns. It's just not a very enjoyable experience. And I can honestly say my beard feels better with henna than without it. So like that, like after I apply it and after I wash it out and I kind of have done my whole routine, put in my beard oil, etc. I walk out the door and I'm like, oh, my beard actually looks nicer, styles nicer, feels better. Everything is better having used that beard dye. But that's obviously a personal preference thing. If you don't have gray hair in your beard or a totally gray beard, or if you're just someone who likes the gray look, this is not a necessity by any means. Um, so in that was a lot of things. So I just threw a lot at you. I think if you're like Joe, that sounds like too much. Make it more basic for me. You could definitely get away with just a I would just say a soap. I would say a nice high quality. I would get a high quality one. I think stepping up from your Doves or other store brands is worth it's worth the few extra bucks. So I would say if you're saying make it simple and just tell me a couple things to get as simple as possible, the soap, and then the other thing I would recommend or say is a necessity is a beard oil, and this is for a short beard. You can get away with any old comb you have, any old brush you have. So everything else I just mentioned you can live without, but those two essentials of just a soap and a beard oil, I say those are basically non-negotiable, even if you just have a short beard. Obviously, you can live without it. If you tell me, Joe, like there's plenty of people in the world who have, month to 2 month to 3 month long beards that aren't coming off their chin that do nothing. And fair enough. But I would say if you just want a basic on how to take care of your beard, there you go, right there. Those two things you can survive. So moving on from the short beard into a medium long beard, this is when you start dealing with some new complications because of the length. This is when you're going to start dealing with tangles and anything that, all this is going to start happening with a medium length beard. But for those of you with long beards, I would consider mine to be long. I consider long to be when you can shake your head and your beard kind of flows in the breeze. So that would be a long beard. And I consider myself to have a long beard. So, I mean, obviously there's going to be differences of opinion there, but up to you what you think. But once you start having length and you start having tangles, the product that I would recommend to start bringing into your rotation is a beard conditioner. I think this is noticeable. That's what you'll hear that phrase a lot with me, noticeable. And I think a conditioner, it's basically a detangler, not something you use every day. And I think someone like a Dan C. Bearded would talk about beard conditioner thicknesses, and a thinner beard conditioner once every other day, a thicker one once a week. The Beard Octanes, he considers a thicker one, and he only says once a week. I just use it whenever I'm also washing my beard with a soap, so it ends up being 2-3 times a week. I haven't noticed any issues. If your beard is over conditioned, the way you can tell is it starts to not style as well. I have not personally noticed that in using the Beard Octane conditioner. So so far so good. I haven't used another conditioner, so I don't have a lot of context here, but just so you know, I think if you're doing every other shower, I think you're going to be perfectly fine with your conditioner. In line with that, how you apply your conditioner, I'll drop a review of that conditioner in the link below. But you're going to want to, in the shower, kind of put it in, obviously wash your beard off, put the beard conditioner in, and then you're going to want to comb it through. And what I'm combing it through with, I was kind of down on this comb in my initial review. I reviewed Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements beard comb as being better. I've kind of come around because the Chicago comb number 8, which is what this is it's a really nice tool. And what I mean by that is you can't take your wooden combs in the shower. I mean, you can, but you're going to ruin them. I mean, you're going to ruin them anyway. Like wood combs, eventually they get dirty and they really can't be cleaned. Like it's not cleaning a comb is not a thing. So you can try. Maybe someone will drop a comment and let me know that you actually can clean a comb. But I just kind of I try and then I'm like, oh, it's worse than even before I cleaned it, and so I just throw it away. So it's definitely a preference thing. or maybe a not a preference thing, but that's definitely something that at least I've personally experienced. But the Chicago comb is made out of carbon fiber, and so it just you can throw it in the I throw it in the dishwasher. Maybe that's not necessarily recommended, but I throw it in the dishwasher, and it comes out nice and clean. And I can use it in the shower when I make my beard wet, and I comb through it anytime I use it. So this is when I would start recommending a Chicago comb because you're going to start dealing with your beard soaking wet, and this will survive and not kind of fall apart as you're dealing, combing through conditioner, combing through wash, combing through anything like that. This will survive all of that. One a couple nuances here I want to mention that were discussed in my last podcast, but I want to make sure I mention them here. Is this is really when you're going to start focusing on season, and this is when you're going to really start focusing on oil rotation. And to be relatively brief on that, because like I said, we discussed this a lot in last week's podcast. I do recommend you rotate your beard oils. You will just notice your style improves when you go from one company's blend to another company's blend to another company's blend. This is not a necessity, once again, and I'll get down to bare bones later for a long beard, but this is absolutely not a necessity. I think you can get away without it. But for those of you interested in optimizing everything, I'd say a rotation of 3 beard oils would definitely work and definitely be something that would be helpful. If you're thinking about what's optimal there. And then for climate, your thinner viscosity beard oils, so those that tend to be have at the beginning of the ingredients list almond oil or fractionated coconut oil, things like that. Your thinner ones are better in your more humid and hot months, and then your thicker beard oils, which tend to start with things like castor oil, those are better for your winter and cold months. So just something to keep in mind for seasonality too, because I'm definitely starting to notice it's cooling off a little bit here in South Florida. So my beard meds, which is Scuba's beard oil, is handling it a lot better than it was in the past. So other stuff I would recommend once you've got a medium to long beard, would definitely recommend a heated beard brush. So this is the Aberlite Go 2. I don't know if do the spikes look better to look at, or does this look better to look at to see the logo? So I don't know if either side really is the best, but this is the heated beard brush from Aberlite. Their Go 2 is their wireless. Their Pro is the wired version. I've only ever had the Go 2. I'll drop a review for this also below on my channel, but this is basically everybody starts to complain your beard will definitely start to poof out, especially at that medium length where it starts getting longer. It's going to poof out rather than go down, and this will help actually make it go in the direction you think it should go. It's not perfect, and it's not going to, you're still going to get some poofing out throughout the day, especially if you have heat and humidity. Like that's just going to be what it is. But it definitely helps a ton with that. So a heated beard brush is definitely recommended for a medium and long length beard. And the last thing I would recommend is, oh, if it's not stuck, it is kind of stuck. There we go. It would be a cold brush. The only one I'm aware of is the Babyliss CryoCare. The Babyliss CryoCare. I think it probably has a longer name than that, but this would be the cold care or the cold brush. As I have a bunch of hairs in there, but apologies for that. But there's a bunch of hairs in there from obviously I use it, right? But what you're gonna do is you're gonna apply this right after applying heat. And the heat basically straightens the beard, not totally, you don't want it to be totally straight, but somewhat straightens the beard. And then the cold brush locks it in and just helps keep that styling better throughout the day. So, one more thing I want to mention before I kind of give you what's the bare bones version to do with your long beard, because this is a lot of product, is you have the nose hair trimmer. I mean, it's called an ear and nose hair trimmer from Panasonic. That's why my brain went to it immediately. But it's also a good beard trimmer. So let me take off the top here. And this is, I have a video on my channel of me using this to trim my beard. You can also use scissors. I've been told by people on my channel that scissors, it's like, just use scissors. Why isn't that? For me, this is easier. My hands shake. And I think this is easier for me to get more precise. I feel like if I use scissors, one would be higher or lower than the other, and I would have a tough time like nailing it. But maybe that's just me. I haven't tried it yet, so maybe I should add that. But either a teeny tiny pair of scissors to trim your mustache, or a actual ear and nose hair trimmer, which will function as a mustache trimmer. That's really up to you. That's not, that's a personal preference thing, what you think will work better for you. And I would also say too, you don't have to trim your mustache. There are a lot of guys who, I think the technique, and I'm not fully versed in this, is to fold it underneath, and that's how you keep it out of your lips. And then there's a fair amount of people, myself included, who I have the barber trim it as well. But sometimes it gets long in between cuts, and I just need that because your mustache will start going into your mouth if you just let it alone. And even with applying heat and moving it to the side, um, it's difficult to keep it. Gravity does its thing. And it doesn't tend to hold super well. So that's that's a lot of product. That's a lot of things you're doing. If you want to know what I do with my beard, it's exactly as I've described it to you. That's everything I just described from short all the way up to full length beard. That's what I do. So it is quite a process. So what's the simplified version of this for a medium to long beard? I think you really do have to get yourself a Chicago comb, because once you're going to want to comb your beard while it's soaking wet, no matter what. And it's not super pricey. So 13 bucks, 13 or 14 bucks, depending on the day. So I think this is an absolute necessity for a person with a medium to long beard. Beyond that, I'm just eyeballing everything to make sure. Yeah, beyond that, I think you don't absolutely need conditioner, because I think conditioner helps with tangles, but if you don't care that much, or if you're someone who for whatever reason doesn't isn't susceptible to them, then fine. Like, you don't need conditioner. You don't. I mean, it's like a creature comfort type thing. And then anything else I just mentioned, heated brush as well as the cold brush. And you can obviously just go heated brush. I wouldn't recommend just going cold brush because you're locking in nothing. But for those of you who just want to stick with a heated brush, that was the only thing forever until, maybe other people had tried, but Dan C. Beer did a video about the Babyliss Cold Care or Cryo Care, and that's definitely what inspired me, and I'd never used it before. So that was, that was, still relatively new concepts. You could just do the heated brush, or like I said, you don't really need it at all, because if you're comfortable with the styling as is, this is like I said, a personal preference thing. So if your beard just lays the right way or lays in a way in which you like it, you don't need to add the heated brush. You don't need to add the cold brush. None of that's absolutely necessary. So you can really just get away from, stepping up from a short beard to a medium to long beard. You can just get away with adding Chicago comb and you're good. So at the end of the day, even if your beard is 40 feet long, you can get away with just beard oil, beard wash, and or soap. I'd actually say beard oil, beard soap, and then a Chicago comb. Done. Done. Yeah, I think you could get away with just those three things. Not fiddle, not, but there's you can kind of go from beginner all the way to very advanced. And there's just a lot of layers there. So, it's really your personal preference thing. For me, once I get into something, this is somewhat of a hobby for me, obviously. So once I get into something, I'm like, hey, I really want to make sure I do this right and do this like the best way it can be done. So I go hardcore, and my thing ends up, I end up going crazy, right? But for those of you who just want to know what the basics are, that's it. It's about as simple as that. So I want to just see real quick. Obviously, I had a little bit of technical issues at the beginning of this of this live stream, so I want to see if anyone's been able to hop on and is leaving comments. I didn't even have a chance to kind of open anything and get anything ready. I've kind of just been hanging. So let me take a look real quick. A couple comments. Awesome. So Joshua, as always, you're here, man. I really appreciate that. Hey, how are you doing? You're mentioning Luxurious Bastard has some awesome products. I'll have to check them out. I have a there's a bit of a story here that I almost want to save this for. I'm going to save this story for my review of the Eisner Mile beard oil, but there is going to be a story about scent, and everything I've ever heard about Eisner Miles, or not Eisner Miles, everything I've ever heard about Luxurious Bastard scents is they are the strongest and longest lasting, and that might not be the best for me. We're gonna see. We definitely shall see. But I am certainly I'm apprehensive. I do want to try it though, because I have heard good things, and I think it'd be fun to. I've spent a lot of my beard time with essential oils, and not a lot of times with fragrance oils. So nothing I've had in beard has lasted super long, except for today. So in testing Eisner Miles. So as a hint for my future review video on that. Um, I see Notable Beer Co's here as well. I'm saying good evening. Thanks for showing up, man. Really appreciate it. I totally happy to have you here. And yeah, you'd also mentioned that Octane Beard Octane soap looks good. It is good. I actually have a review of it on my channel that I've left. It has replaced my favorite soap. Period. It has was previously Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements beard shampoo. I have now switched to, I think Beard Octane has a better soap. Now, it's harsher than Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements, but that actually fits my style because I don't wash my beard or head hair on a daily basis, so it's fine. It's fine for me. And I was, as I was saying earlier in the podcast, my beard and head hair is super tough. So even I don't have to do it once a week. I can wash my beard several times a week with that soap and not have any issues. But yeah, I would definitely recommend it. And I have the Citrofella scent, which is nice. It's like a bunch of oranges, which is pleasant, even though I'm not as much as the scent guy. And then my mom says, "Could you post links to the products I may need to buy some holiday gifts?" Absolutely, mom. I will leave them. I will leave them linked. The links below for everything that I mentioned in this video for sure. Absolutely. Well, I really appreciate everybody's time. Thanks for being patient with me. I'm still working out this tech stuff. I would I would really like to get better at it one day, but at the very least, you all were able to show up and hopefully get something out of this. Obviously, leave a comment below if you have any questions or comments. So far I've been pretty good. I think I've responded to every comment I've ever gotten. So at some point that might go away, but for now I'm not getting that many. So ask your questions, leave your comments, and let me know what you think. With that being said, I'm Joe, and this has been Beards, Blades, and Podcast.